the 11th, 2020. At this time, we have our invocation by Delamena.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for waking us up this day. We thank you for everything that is good in our lives. We praise thy holy name, Jesus. Bless us all, Lord God Almighty, in our own special ways and deeds. Because from the Lord, you know our name, our need, and you are more than able to provide. And we thank you, Jesus. Bless the Hope County school families, each and every one of them, Jesus. Bless the Hope County Board of Education members and their families and friends and the staff too also, Jesus. Bless our president who runs our country, Jesus. He will make the right decisions for us. We do humbly pray. Bless our military men and women. Bless our sheriff departments. The Lord God Almighty, we ask blessings upon the healing, helping hands that we have in our hospitals and our areas, Jesus. That you will guide them to take care of us and protect us from the virus that is trying to destroy us, Jesus. Help us, the Hope County school families, to make the right decision for each and every one of our children here in Hope County. Bless us everyone in our own special ways and needs again, Jesus. Bless all the school districts and all the children of the world. Amen.
Amen. Next on our agenda, we have the chairman's report. And I would like to just say at this time, greetings to everyone that's here. We're so glad that you've taken the time out of your busy schedule to be with us tonight. Even though the weather is one of the most, I think the coldest one I've seen this year, but we're glad that you're here with us. We hope that you had a happy holiday season, enjoyed your vacation that you so richly deserve. And on behalf of the board, I would just like to say thank you for your acts of kindness and love shown to us during the holiday season. Also to our board members, thank you for adopting one of the angels from the angel tree at Hope County High School. We know that you put a smile on many of the children's faces on Christmas morning. Thank you so much. You know, during the Christmas season, there's a lot of joy and there's a lot of laughter. Also peace in many families, but not so in all of the families. You know, someone says that after every storm, the sun will shine again. We know that even though Christmas was a joyous season, we too had a little sadness there at the end of the month. On New Year's Eve, the night before New Year's Eve, one of our babies was involved in a tragic accident. First grader, Skerlock Elementary School. Her homegoing was on this past Sunday. Barbara and I attended. The principal and some of the teachers from Skerlock attended. And we just asked for prayers for that family. You know, it's tough to lose an adult, but when you lose a child, the way that child was lost, it takes a lot out of us. So we pray. We pray for her. We pray for her family. Now we know that we're at the beginning of a new year, a new season, and many of the conflicts that we were faced with during life season, we are still faced with many of those now. The viruses are still here. And we are asking for your encouragement, and we asking that you will continue to abide by the rules and regulations that have been set before us from our health departments and CDCs. We pray, we know we will get over this, but it's going to take all of us working together to do so. We thank God for a new year and a new beginning. We will get through it. Later on, we're gonna get an update from our superintendent on how school started this year. So, and I'm going to give her an opportunity to address that in a few minutes. But as I said, we need your support, all our parents' support, all the families in Hope County support in doing what they can do to help keep all of us safe here in Hope County, especially Hope County schools. We were fortunate enough to start back in person, face to face, and this is where our children need to be. This is where they need to be every day in school. So we ask that you will work with us in making sure that they are safe and we are safe. So we will have a prosperous year in 2022. So at this time, I would like to ask any other board members if they have any comments they want to make at this time.
I'm sorry, Chair. I would like to say Happy New Year to everyone, and I want to say thank you so much for being so supportive and thinking about the school board members. I am grateful to be a part of the school board, and I want to say I love my setup here. I love it. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. If not, we will continue. We would like to have our agenda approved at this time. So I'll approve our agenda we have before us.
Madam Chair,
Rosa?
I move that we approve the agenda for tonight, which is January 11, 2022.
Here we go.
Second.
It's been moved and second that our agenda we have before us be approved. Are there any questions? If none, all in favor, let me know by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. So our agenda we have before us has been approved. Next on our agenda, we have Spotlight on Success. And at this time, we will turn it over to our superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair and members. We do have 4 items for Spotlight on Success this evening. Our first item is the recognition of School Board Appreciation Month. Yay. So please join me in recognizing our amazing school board members and thanking them for their service to our district and our community. Our school board members exemplify unconditional support for public education and sound decision-making in the best interest of our children, staff, and our community. They influence virtually every facet of our school system. They dedicate countless hours, I call them a lot on the phone, and an immeasurable amount of energy to ensure that the best education possible is provided for all of our children in Hope County. So once again, please join me in thanking them for their service, their dedication. We thank you for your vision, your advocacy, and for all of your hard work. So we hope you do appreciate some of the tokens that have been provided. I will just real briefly open it up to any cabinet members who might want to just say a few words.
I'll start if that's okay. I would just like to say thank you for just being so supportive, thinking of children. And it's so obvious that you all put children first and our teachers as well, and understand all of the things that have to happen in order for a school system to run effectively and successfully. And we know that without your support, this just would not be possible. So we know that you are an integral, foundational part of Cook County Schools. So thank you.
And I do want to ditto my colleague, Dr. Ramsell. We appreciate all that you do. You know, everything starts with leadership. And you think over the past decade or more, plus, we add to that all these successes that we've had. You've been here in the trenches with us. We can always count on you to make those tough decisions on the behalf of our students and staff. And so we appreciate all that you do.
So thank you for your support as well. I just have to ditto. I don't know if that's the correct word to say or not whenever it comes to the trifecta there. But also not to only mention your leadership, but also to mention your guidance and being that ear of listening for our staff and our students and coming back and sharing your thoughts with us to provide that leadership. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, we do appreciate you. You know, it's a lot of work these days. Our second item this evening is the recognition of our Hope County schools receiving the EverFi Empowerment Seal, which signifies our commitment to using evidence-informed strategies to teach critical skills such as financial literacy, social and emotional learning, health, wellness, literacy, and careers to our students. So at this time, I'll ask Dr. Shannon Register to please share this information and introduce our special guest.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to introduce to you a young man named Mr. Soulsby, who is the Executive Director of the implementation for EverFi. He's gonna come and give you more information about EverFi, the program, their partnerships, and how we have been using EverFi. And I also have Ms. Mcleod here that's gonna share on behalf of the principals, the application, the implementation of EverFi in the buildings. I do want to say this has been a long journey with EverFi. We actually started using EverFi probably about, I want to say maybe about 13 or plus years ago. And we remember when there was just a company with a few resources and a few partners, and we focused on financial literacy. And then over the years, they have grown tremendously with their partners, social emotional learning, and you do have a handout, I think, at your site, and kind of outlines some things that they have grown to actually, when we started with, they only had the financial part. But I'm going to turn it over, and I do want to say, there has been a big push with secondary, and they have added elementary, so that will be coming as well for elementary. But this award would be for our work that we've done with secondary. Can you point me to?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Register. Good evening. My name is Seth Sosby, and I'm a K-12 implementation specialist with EverFi, and I thank the board for allowing me to speak to you tonight. EverFi's instructional resources focus on topics that are determinant to student wellness and success. These digital resources use best-in-class instructional design to engage learners and scaffold them through new knowledge and skills in areas of financial readiness, emotional literacy, STEM career understanding, and much more. Designed in collaboration with leading subject matter experts, these resources use research and evidence-based strategies to ensure an effective, meaningful, and measurable learning experience. All resources are also aligned to national and state standards. So I would now like to invite Mary Mcleod, principal at Westwood Middle School, to speak a bit about the impact and implementation of our resources at her school.
Good evening, everyone, and while I have the floor, let me say a special thank you to the board. You all are greatly appreciated, and the tokens that you have, it's just a tokens of appreciation. We know that much more is deserved of all that you all do, so we are greatly appreciated to the students, the administrators, and the community of Hope County in which you serve. So just thank you for all that you do. EverFi, when it was first introduced within Hope County schools, it was introduced through our CTE teachers. And that's how the program began at the secondary level, at the middle schools. And so it broadened out, like Dr. Register had said earlier. EverFi is the big umbrella and which offer the digital lessons that teachers can use, which give real world experience for the students and helps teachers to help students to build critical thinking skills. And so housed under EverFi is different programs. And I'm just going to go briefly through some of the programs that West Hope Middle School use and the students that use. And so it's not just housed anymore in the CTE department. several of our teachers within our building use the different programs. One is the Character Playbook, and we know the importance of social emotional learning. And the Character Playbook, it teaches character building skills and also teaches students how to build relationships, productive relationships with their peers. And that's what that program is used for. And we normally use that throughout the building to help during our homeroom period when we're addressing our social emotional learning. Future Smart is a program, and our social studies teachers, including the CTE teachers, use this program, which teaches the financial goals and teaches students how to set financial goals. The Vault, and I know Maisie Quick, one of our strong CTE teachers, she uses this program, which teaches students how to understand money. And when she does this program, and it's normally in the spring is when she's teaching this one and using this resource, we invite the State Employees Credit Union and BB&T bank managers, and they come over and they do a presentation with the students. So this time around, and last year we did it via Zoom. This time around we'll do it via Zoom, but in the past, they actually come to the building and do sessions with the students, and the students love it, introducing Fat Cat, and the students are going through the building talking about bank accounts and saving money. Ignition is a program that teaches students internet safety and how to be out there online and be safe doing that. And even as building leaders and teachers, we are going through a program ourselves. And I know I went through a program, Dr. Ramsey, I can't remember the name of, teaching us about fishing. And this is true, that we had to go through that training, how to get out there on the internet and be safe. And when folks send you information, is that information that you should open up and take part in. So that is a great program to start trying to teach these young folks how to be out there on that internet and be safe while out there. Future goals, there's two programs in Future Goals. One is science, the other is math. So our math teachers bought into this program. They utilize this resource. And this Future Goals in science, our science teacher uses this program, which is a great program. And it's a hockey game, and it's fast-paced hockey game that gives students a real-world application to the STEM by playing a hockey game. So there is a lot of programs housed on EverFi that's open to the entire school. And like I said in the beginning, it started in CTE, but now everybody's utilizing this program. And it's not just for one teacher, it's throughout the building. Kudos to my staff. I know Westwood Middle School is doing a great job using EverFi. Let me throw that out there. But the district is doing a great job of using the program. And it's a program that really benefits all students. And it's not geared to one level of students. It's geared towards all students. So thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna make the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Mcleod. I'm going to deviate from my notes just a little bit to say the best part about our resources is that they're free for your students because of the sponsors that we partner with. And as a former educator, 8 years in Wake County, I can tell you just how wonderful it is to find a high quality resource that doesn't cost your school anything. So now for the reason I'm here, on Tuesday, November 9th, Hope County Schools was awarded the EverFi Empowerment Seal for its exemplary commitment to using evidence-informed strategies to teach such critical learning skills as financial literacy, social emotional learning, health and wellness, literacy, and careers. Hope County Schools' consistent and thoughtful efforts have led it to be a leader in whole child education, enrolling over 2,000 of its students in EverFi courses in the previous school year. Hope County Schools was awarded the EverFi Empowerment Seal in 2021 based on a variety of criteria, including the Principles of Effective Prevention Programs, published by Nation, the use of EverFi's free life skills resources by more than 10% of its student population in more than 5 index areas of financial education, STEM and career readiness, SEL, health and wellness, and early academic readiness. EverFi applauds Hope County Schools' forward-thinking commitment to preparing students to navigate the opportunities and challenges of their time. Your thoughtful action will have a lifelong impact on students and their families. And so it is my honor on behalf of EverFi to present this Empowerment District Certificate to Board Chair Ms. Iris Pickett.
If you want to stand right here, maybe, so I can get that in my Smiles. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank
I would just
you.
like to make a few remarks to say thank you for this award. It's definitely evident that our strategic plan is working. For priority 2 in our strategic plan says, we will provide those environments where all students will develop physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, the child well-being of priority 2. We take it seriously. And this is what happened now. This is evident that this is happening in all the schools throughout the county. So we say thank you to our administration. Thank you for observing this and awarding us this award. Thank you.
Okay, outstanding. Our third item this evening is the recognition of Sandhope Early College High School for a very special honor, achieving 100% graduation rate for the 2021 school year. We all recognize the importance of ensuring that every student who starts 9th grade finishes with at least a diploma and is well prepared for the challenges of college or career. We appreciate the hard work and commitment of all of the educators at Sandhope Early College High School, who made this possible, especially during this past year's challenges. Like, this is a feat to achieve 100% what we went through last year. So at this time, I'll ask Dr. Shannon Register to please share this information.
Thank you, Dr. Dallas. On behalf of Ms. Paver, there were some things that she wanted me, some data she wanted me to present to you all. There were 91 graduates, and of those graduates, 57% completed an Associate of Arts or Associates of Science degree. There was one student who earned received the Quest Bridge recipient full scholarship to Duke University. 69% of graduates went off to a 4-year university. 6 of graduates went to the military, and 7 returned to a 2-year college. This speaks volumes in terms of the hard work at Sandhope Early College, what Ms. Payroll does, as well as her staff. And as we recognize over the years, we have increased her numbers tremendously. When you start out with 50, and then so forth. And so now we're just so proud of all her hard work and everything that she does. So at this time, we have Lisa Davis that's going to come on behalf of Ms. Payroll to receive the award.
This is a great thing. I am so proud of Sandhope Early College, and Lisa, I would like to present to you the Certificate of Achievement 2020 to 2021 presented to Sandhope Early College High School for achieving an outstanding graduation rate of 100%.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say?
Oh,
Go ahead. She wants to talk.
The Sandhope staff and administration just wants to thank everyone for this wonderful award that we've received. It hasn't always been easy for our students to graduate. They have a lot of rigorous coursework they go through. But we want to thank our parents, our students, our Sandhills partners, our Hope County Schools leadership, and our students and staff for helping us to achieve this. We have a rigorous coursework that our students undergo, and again, with the high school diploma they receive, and also the Sandhills associate's degree. And I want to talk for a personal achievement. My son graduated in 2021, May of 2021. So I want to say he was in this award, so it means a lot to me. But again, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations again. And our fourth spotlight on success this evening is the artwork that's displayed at the Board of Education. This month's display is provided by Sandy Grove Elementary School. So Madam Chair and members, that does conclude our spotlight on success for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent. And next on our agenda, we will continue to be public comments. So I'll turn this over to Superintendent.
So at this time, I will turn it over to Ms. Waller, our school board attorney.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all letting me attend virtually this evening. It is time for public comments. Before we get started, I just want to go over the ground rules for public comments. Only individuals or groups who have signed up will be permitted to speak, and comments will be limited to 3 minutes. A total of 30 minutes are set aside for public comment. Board members do not respond to or address speakers' comments, and comments regarding particular individual employees, student records, or other matters which are required to be kept confidential may not be discussed in this open forum. All comments must be respectful and civil per ordinary rules of order and decorum. And I will act as the timekeeper and let you know if any of our speakers come to the end of their time.
So at this time, Ms. Waller, we did not have anybody sign up for public comment on the sheet. Okay, so are they able to sign in at this time?
I think that's the pleasure of the board.
The pleasure of the chair, the board at this time. Do you want to allow people to sign in or?
Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ms. Kennedy. My son just started Hope High for his 9th grade year. I've been having trouble with.
Ms. Kennedy?
I'm sorry.
Ms. Kennedy, we don't take public comments that are specific to students. If you have general comments, but if you have concerns specifically about your son, then that would be addressed to administration outside of the public comment.
I did have a question as far as what are we doing about the busing and having lack of teachers and buses for students, and what are we what's on the agenda to fix that?
This is not a time for questions to the board. You're permitted to make public comments, and but there is no response to comments that you make.
Okay, so what do you mean by comments? This is my first time, I'm sorry. Am I able to ask a question?
You are not.
Okay. So what exactly is the purpose of being able to speak?
You can share your thoughts with the board, and you have the floor for 3 minutes.
Okay, so I have a suggestion about lunch. I have gotten information from other parents that there's a lot of waste of food I wasn't sure if Hope High had a way of having a nursery where the kids would be able to grow fresh herbs. Maybe we can find a way to stop the cycle of waste as far as school lunch. And so that was one of my ideas. As far as the kids, I'm an advocate for kids and their passions. And, you know, when I'm coming to the school, I'm not seeing kids enjoying their schooling, especially at Hope. Sometimes I am frustrated with the lack of, knowing the situation about the pandemic, but very frustrated on the problem solving as far as the kids and making sure they get the most out of the school system. I saw that one of the schools received 100% on their graduation, and I was like, wow, what are they doing different than everyone else? I am aware of the school. I know they limit the children they accept, and so I would love to implement whatever that is, because I don't want any kid left behind. The kids had finals, and we had an issue with busing. And so I was very concerned about the kids having hot foods, hot drinks. I felt they weren't being treated humane as far as being outside in the cold.
Ms. Kennedy, you have reached the end of your time.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy.
Thank you.
So I believe that concludes our public comment for this evening, Ms. Waller.
Thank you.
We will continue then with our agenda. We now with 7 consent agenda. If everyone had an opportunity to read our consent agenda of the approval of the minutes for December 14, 2021, 2022 state budget, 2022 federal budget. May I get a motion to accept our consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Can we get a second?
A second.
Any questions? If none, we will accept our consent agenda. All in favor, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. So we will continue with our action items. Turn it over now to our superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. We do have 4 action items for this evening. I'm sorry, we have three action items for this evening. I'm sorry. So action item number 1 is the review of our district face mask policy. Under Senate Bill 654, a PSU shall vote on their face covering policy at least once a month to determine whether it should be modified. At our July 29th Board of Education meeting and in alignment with the CDC and the North Carolina DHHS, we voted that face coverings would be required inside all buildings and on all school transportation for our students and staff, pre-K through 12, regardless of vaccination status, and that face coverings are not required when outdoors and are recommended when in crowded outdoor settings. At our last 4 board meetings, we did vote to maintain our current face covering policy. The Omicron variant currently circulating in North Carolina is even more transmissible than the Delta variant and makes the layered prevention strategies even more important. In December, we saw Hope County's local metrics worsen and we moved back into red, indicating that we had a high community transmission rate. And at that time, our 7-day positivity rate was 11.82, which was twice the percent we had in November. Currently, we are still in the red, indicating a high community transmission rate. With a county transmission rate indication of high, the CDC does recommend that everyone wears a mask in public indoor settings. Our 7-day positivity rate right now is around 38%, which is more than 3 times our percent in December. Given that our school population is still largely not yet vaccinated, face coverings remain a critical tool for protecting our children, keeping them safe in the classroom, and keeping them in the classroom. Our current vaccination rate for people age 5 or older is approximately 34.7%. The NCDHHS guidelines recommend that schools should continue to implement a universal face covering requirement if they are located in a county with high or substantial community transmission level. We still consider face coverings to be one of our most important mitigation strategies that can be implemented in our schools to help us reduce the spread of COVID-19. So at this time, does anyone have any comments or want to make any modifications to our current policy?
Am I able to say something, or is it just the council?
Just the board can speak at this time.
Okay. Superintendent Dallas, can we make comments or can we ask?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we wanna make any changes, this would be the time.
Of course. I wanna know, like, on the average, because I'm certainly not from math. What else are we doing? Because it seems like we're going further up in numbers. And I knew we had not really slack, but instead of 6 feet, we went 3 feet,
Right.
you know, and all this stuff.
Right.
What else are we implementing now? Because we're getting even higher, we're increasing the numbers. So like the bus, I know the bus is just like, it's horrible, but you know, because we don't have any bus drivers. Yet, I don't think 60 students should be on the bus.
Right.
You know, so what else are we gonna do?
Well, with the Omicron being so transmissible, and when you do want to have all of your students back in the classroom, masking is really one of the most important things that we do. It allows us not to have to quarantine students. It allows that spread to be reduced. We are still, if we can take kids to 6 feet, we take them to 6 feet. Now, that's not applicable in all of our classrooms because we want all of our students back in the classrooms. So I would say we basically try to extend to the maximum extent. In some cases, it's 3 feet, some cases it may be more. We've really looked at our athletics. We've reduced the capacity of what we're allowing in our gyms. We make our athletes wear masks as well. We continue our cleaning protocols. We do that every evening. If we've had a positive case, we come back in the morning again and do another thorough cleaning and still do another one in the afternoon. So I'd say we really ramped that up as well. And honestly, it's encouraging vaccinations. It's encouraging people to just be careful when they're out and about. You know, people are very safe in the buildings. They're wearing their masks, they're watching their physical spacing. So it's once again, it kind of goes back to when we see something, we say something. You know, maybe pop your mask up or watch where you're at, you know, step back a little bit. So it's about those constant reminders of making sure that we're keeping that physical space.
On the average, how many teachers, because I know you said we want to keep, and we do want to keep, I think Ms. Pickett alluded to keeping the students in class, but on the average, how many teachers are like out, like right now?
It would honestly vary. We've been tracking that almost every night. Dr. Register works through the secondary, Dr. Ramsor works through the elementary. Because we're being very cautious about quarantining or asking people to come back out and isolate until we can get a test. We've had, I would say right now, probably our lowest is maybe around 5 or 6. And then some of our larger schools, we might have 12 to 15. It just honestly is a daily scale. We're tracking it every single day to see where we're at.
Do you anticipate any closing? You know, had you even thought about it?
You know, our goal is not to shut down a district. If we were to do anything, it would be considered classroom first. And under Senate Bill 654, that's basically where we operate. We start at the classroom first, and if we absolutely had to, a school. we had to shut down the school, but at this point, we are maintaining.
Okay.
It is truly when you say it takes a village, it is taking a village. Everybody's on deck, central office has been going out, covering classrooms, TAs, tutors, because we still believe school's the best place for our children to be.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a daily monitoring, trust me, we're all really watching it every single day to see where we're at.
So the public can't talk on this issue? Like that was whenever comments were supposed to be made to the public?
I'm sorry.
So the public cannot talk on
No,
this issue?
not during this part. This is just a board meeting at this point.
So whenever you said public comment earlier, we should have said something.
Do board members have any other questions? Any other recommendations? Okay. So based on our recommendations of the CDC and the North Carolina DHHS, I am asking for approval to continue our current face covering policy.
You've heard the request coming from our superintendent to continue with the face covering policy as recommended by the CDC. May I get a motion on that?
Ms. Pickett, I move that we continue our face covering policy with our CDC.
Okay, may I get a second?
Madam Chair, I second that.
It's moved in second that we will continue with the recommendation made by the CDC to continue with our school face covering policy. Are there any questions? If none, all in favor, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Now, Polk County School face covering policy will remain.
Thank you. So action item number 2 is the North Carolina DOT acquisition of the right-of-way for the North Carolina 211 widening from US 15501 in Aberdeen to east of the State Road 1244, West Palmer Street, State Road 1311, Mockingbird Hill Road in Rayford. Dr. Chad Hunt, our Assistant Superintendent of Operations and Information Systems, and Scott Manis, our Executive Director of Maintenance, are going to share more about the acquisition process. When he shares the information, we'll answer any questions that you may have about this right-of-way project.
Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. Going through the timeline, we're now technically in the negotiation phase with DOT, between DOT and Polk County Schools. Back in around September of this past year, so September 2021, NCDOT approached us with an offer to purchase that land that is now lying in front of Westwood Middle School. I think it's about 1.6 acres, for $79,000 approximately. During this negotiation phase in October, November, we seek council to get a second appraisal, just so that we could compare apples to apples with what DOT was offering. At that time, we hired Kirkland Appraisals LLC to perform that land appraisal. And the value came back from Kirkland Appraisals at approximately $94,000. Again, continuing with the negotiation, we decided to kind of split the difference, if you would, in between the two appraisals and propose a counter offer to NCDOT for an approximate value of $119,000. At that time, NCDOT counter offered back at $102,000 approximately, which is an estimated 30% increase from their original value or their original offer. So tonight, we are bringing that information and dollar amount to you in the approximated amount of $102,000 at this time for NCDOT to purchase the land.
Are there any questions about the acquisition process from the board related to the process or appraisals? So if there are no questions, then I am going to ask for approval to accept North Carolina DOT's offer of $102,297 for the right-of-way project.
You've heard the request from our superintendent to accept the $102,297 for the North Carolina DOT acquisition. Maybe get a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the North Carolina DOT acquisition of the property for $102,000.
Okay, maybe get a second.
Second.
Okay, been moved in second that we accept the $102,297 offered by the North Carolina DOT for the acquisition of the property. Are there any questions? If none, all in favor, let you know by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Been approved.
Thank you.
Okay, so action item number 3 is the request to begin the request for qualifications, or what we call an RFQ, for architectural services for the project that will be related to the needs-based public school capital fund grant project. As you are aware, in this year's budget, the General Assembly has made revisions to the process and the amount of funds that are available for capital projects. Previously, we had been awarded a grant in the amount of $10 million with a required 1-to-1 match, which would be $10 million. The changes in the budget now allow us to go after a grant that would allow us to ask for $50 million for a high school project. Last month, our board and the Hope County Board of Commissioners submitted a joint letter to NCDPI indicating our intent to submit a revised grant requesting the additional funds. Therefore, we will be working to resubmit this application by March 15th, requesting $50 million for a high school project. If approved, we will follow the selection process for architectural services as outlined in our board policy 9110. And we will provide a timeline and schedule to the board of this RFQ process. Our team will continue to work on the ideas and the development of this project. Although this grant has not yet been awarded to us, the approval to begin the RFQ process could possibly assist us in the final details and steps of the grant application resubmission. So at this time, I am asking that we can approve the RFQ process to begin for architectural services for the project related to the needs-based public school capital fund project.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay, you've heard a recommendation by the superintendent to approve the RFQ process to begin the selection for the needs-based public school capital grant. Maybe get a motion this time.
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
move to approve the RFQ request to begin the capital funds project. What's cool?
Okay, can I have a second?
A second.
It's been moved and second that we will approve the RFQ process grant for the selection of the need-based public school capital funds. Are there any questions? All in favor, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. And that's been approved.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair and members. That does conclude our action items for this evening.
Next, we will have our demonstration with the information items.
Okay, so Madam Chair and members, we have 6 items for this evening under information. So information item A will be our update on COVID-19. Let me ask Dr. Peggy Owens, our Executive Director of Student Support Services, to please provide our update.
Madam Chair, Madam Superintendent, and members of the board, good evening.
Good evening.
We have, this evening, we want to share with you an update as it relates to COVID-19. And on this balance, I will ask that you open the dashboard, please. If you did not have an opportunity, and I think Ms. Rosa McAllister McCray did ask, this is our data from last week as it relates specifically to the school system. And so you can see the number of cases that we reported, let me put it this way, that we reported for a total of 184 cases, with 145 of those being students and 39 as staff. As Dr. Dallas indicated, it is truly a revolving door. Sometimes I like to describe it as a roller coaster in terms of that we will have staff members out, staff members in. And so what we're experiencing in the school system is same as within our county and also the state and really throughout the world right now. So this is our local data for the school system. Next slide. Next slide. And so this is the data for Hope County. That data reflects from December 14, 2020 through January the 10th. So this is the most up-to-date data. And you can see the cases again for our county, which is reflective of the county data is in relationship to the schools. So what's happening out there in the community, we see that also within the schools. So that's the school spread. And one of the things that I want to say here in terms of what we're doing now, you can see the vaccination rate for the county, what you're seeing now through, that was on yesterday. So one of the things that we're doing, we're constantly promoting and encouraging people to get vaccinated. You know, we cannot make anyone get vaccinated, but we are encouraging that. So in relationship to that data. Next slide. Now, this is Hope County's data. Again, when you can go to NCDHSS, I'm not going to go through all of this, but as you look at the various data points, you can go in and look specifically for Hope County in terms of where we are as it relates to our testing, our cases, even drill down to the various demographics. So I would just encourage you to do that at your leisure or at your time. Next slide, Ms. Byrne. So we have mentioned, I think, the past 2 board meetings to share with you that we were working with the Hope County Health Department to host vaccination clinics. And so the clinic kicked off today at Upchurch Elementary School. The health department came in and we were very excited. Today we had a total of 5 persons to get vaccinated, 2 was students and 3 was adults. And while that does not seem like a lot, that does increase. And so, you know, we have to look at it from that lens. Yes, and so we, and that was our first school. So this week, and I have provided a yellow paper at your desk that you will see that have the dates of the clinic for each school, and again for ages 5 through 11. So this week on Thursday, we started with Upchurch today. On Thursday, we will be at McLaughlin. The other thing, and just so that you will know that the health department is providing for us, those vaccines are not only for children, but they also have the vaccine available for our employees and also for parents. And you can also receive your booster if you choose to do that. So they are, you know, providing that additional support for us. So we were I was happy to find out about that because initially when we were coordinating, they didn't say that they would provide all of that, but given in terms of where we are now. So masking is number one. That is, that's critical. And so we're encouraging everyone to mask, and not just mask, but mask appropriately. Contact tracing is another mitigating measure that we are implementing in order to keep our students in school. Testing as well, and of course, I know everyone heard that we had some shortage on testing this week, but our community is kicking in. We have a agency that Dr. Ramsher was able to locate on yesterday, Renew, and I just received an email from Mr. Mcleod, our principal at Westwood Elementary School, that one of our faith-based agencies will be offering vaccination and testing this week. So we'll get that word out to our employees. So that is a brief update. Also, just for you to know that the toolkit has been updated. And so on tomorrow, we will be sharing those updates with our principals and the other employees for leadership on tomorrow. And so the toolkit may be updated again. We do like twice, almost in 1 week. Any questions?
I just say thank you so much for keeping us updated on with the latest with this virus, because there are some people that's still afraid to take the shot.
Yes.
In case in point, I knew a lady whose sister got COVID and died from it. And she still has not gotten the shot. And now she has it. So, you know, I was saying, what would it take for some people to get the shot? Even though it's in their family, they're still afraid to get the shot. So this is why we need to be careful. We need to take all the safe precaution that we can, because we never know who has gotten the shot and who has not.
Absolutely.
Because there's many that still have not gotten it, they're still afraid.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
So thank you so much for what you're doing and making available for our children here. If our children would love to have it, and the parents.
Yes,
they can available, but they can have it at school.
Yes, ma'am, they must have parent permission. The parents have to be with their children in order to receive the vaccine. They cannot receive it without parents being there. Yes, Ms. Booth.
Dr. Owens, I think I understood you, but I want to be clear. When they're at different schools, you said parents could get the vaccine. Can the community get the vaccine at the same time, or must you be a parent in the school to get the vaccine?
No, you can, in talking with the health department staff today, yes, if they come, if the community come, people from the community come to the clinic, they can get the vaccine.
And these clinics are at our various schools?
Yes, ma'am. You have on your yellow sheet, we started at Up Church today, located in the gym. So when they come, most of them will where we have a gym or a facility of that nature, will be hosted at, or it may be hosted in the cafeteria. But if we have parents, or just let's say community persons that's coming in, they do need to check with the front desk and they will direct them to the appropriate space.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, is there anything we need to do to let parents know that if they want to, while it's in their community, they can just go in?
Yes, ma'am, encourage them. We have sent out, we have sent out letters and messages, calls to parents to notify them. That information is also posted on the school website. Ms. Bounds will be doing some additional posting on the district website as well. So we're really pushing and encouraging that, and those clinics will be hosted through February. And of course, as you know, for the second shot, we'll come back another round, but those dates are given, to the parents when they come, for the shot for your child.
But if my neighbor has not been vaccinated.
Yes, ma'am.
And they live near, say, Sturlock, they can just go to Sturlock when they're at Sturlock and get it done.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes,
We're probably getting the results, but is it that day or is
for testing? Okay, so that varies. It depends on where you go. That, we were really, a little bit concerned about that because, they've been behind anywhere from, 24 hours to 72 hours, and in some cases, 5 to 7 days. But I had a teacher to call me today, and she went to First Health Convenient Care, on yesterday. Initially, they told her 24 to 72 hours. She called me today. She said, Dr. Owens, I want you to know I have my results back today. I said, okay. I said, great, thank the Lord. And so she was really excited to get her results back, on today. So, it varies because yesterday, we did not have any, rapid tests, in the county, but today that pushed in. So, we're just encouraging people to get out there and get tested and get vaccinated, Any other questions? And I would just like to say to you board members, happy School Board Appreciation Month, and thank you for what you do for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Owens. Information item B is regarding one of our new programs that we are supporting through ESSER funding. So we wanted to take the opportunity to share it with you. It's called Major Clarity. So let me ask Dr. Dana Chavis, our Executive Director of CTE, to share this program and information, please.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year and Board Appreciation Month. Looks like Christmas around here. So I do want to share with you about Major Clarity. Some of the information has already been shared with you in the platform that you guys use. I did share a PowerPoint. I don't know if Ms. Meredith.
Is it one of these two attachments?
I can't see that. Let me see. No, but it's okay. Just wanted to talk a little bit about Major Clarity. That particular document there is what can be shared with parents to introduce them to what is Major Clarity as we kind of push this out in the district. It is not across the board yet. What we decided to do is focus on 8th grade and 9th grade to get those students involved into Major Clarity so that once those 8th graders come to the high school, they will already have a 4-year academic plan. That they have already kind of looked at the pathways that are at the high school. They take an assessment. The program kind of gets very personalized with them. They take an interest inventory. They take a learning style. So that helps teach them, what is their best way of learning. And then, what are those true interests of you? It takes like maybe 15 minutes to take the assessments. But then it gives them careers. Like maybe you should do this based off of your assessment. Maybe these are some classes that you should take based off of what you like to do. And from there, they pick the classes at the high school based off of what they like to do. So with this particular platform, it just really becomes very personal to them. It's not the registration form. It's just a planning guide. So the initial step is to start with our 8th graders, start with our 9th graders, and then keep pulling backwards and forward to grade levels until the whole district is involved in Major Clarity. Scholarships have already been uploaded to Major Clarity so that seniors can log into Major Clarity to begin, looking for their scholarships. And then while they're in there, they kind of can explore different aspects of Major Clarity. And Major Clarity itself is just that. It's an exploratory platform for students that, they get to explore careers, they get to explore the classes that are accessible to them and plan out their time here. Many times we know that students come here and they don't know. They don't know what we offer. They don't know what their true interests are, but as guidance counselors and teachers are more familiar with this, and they can have true, authentic conversations with our students about what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? Because we definitely want them to do what's best for them. But in the PowerPoint, and maybe that is So that just kind of shows you the student's journey. The students would take a interest inventory. They would explore their careers. They get to then select a pathway that has already been built throughout the school district. Because we have about 18 pathways that students get to choose from. And then from there, explore post-secondary. Build a resume, build a cover letter. We know that all students may not go to college, but everybody has to go to work. So, you know, when you're choosing what do you want to do for the rest of your life, you know, this is going to help you to you know, make those decisions. There is if you'll scroll down some more, Ms. Bounds. This is the Faculties Experience that just kind of shows you that what's available to our staff. You know, they could cluster students together based off of their learning styles and then do a more personalized lesson for those particular students who are hands-on learners versus those that are auditory learners. So there's lots of ways to capture data that should be available to, you know, not only the teachers, but the principals at the school, along with the register of what we want to see with our students. Students are utilizing it right now. Some of the feedback that we have heard from the teachers at the high school, which are those career management teachers, is that it really does personalize. Like the students, you know, they take the interest inventory and it really connects them to things that they may not have even thought about pursuing based off of what they like to do. So this year we're working with 8th and 9th graders. Next year we'll reach back and work with 6th and 7th graders and 10th graders. And then just keep moving forward. And so we're hoping to have all 9th and 8th graders completed this year. That's our goal. Any questions about it?
It's all about making sure all of our kids have a plan. You know, we're not leaving it to chance. It's making sure that we're taking the opportunity to really help students try to, not saying they have to lock into a career or a pathway, but for some kids, it does really help guide them or direct them into something they might not have had any experience about. And I just think that's critical for our students to recognize and be able to explore some of those other careers that they might not see every day, to make sure that they have that exposure.
I love it. I do. I remember when I was in high school, which was just a little short time ago, they had this program. I heard that laugh over here too much. They had this program that we did something sort of similar to that. And they told me I definitely could not go out and work in the manufacturing area. I had to be behind a desk. And I'm like, well, that must have been true because I was behind the desk all my life. But I love it. I really, truly do.
Dr. Chambers, so I see the building of the resume. So we have, say, the firefighters program, right? So this resume, if the person is interested in firefighting and all that, and then they took those classes, they could build that resume upon that. Or if they were interested in going to a 4-year school, now some of the schools are actually, especially if you're in, I don't know, music or something like that, they're asking now for resumes. So that student that will go to the 4-year school can also build a resume for this, right, based on the interest inventory.
And you know, this is for every student. This isn't just for the college bound, this isn't just for the career bound or the military bound. This is for every student. Every student needs to have a plan, and every student needs to know what they like to do. Even as an adult, you know, I took this, it was like 15 minutes, and one of the recommendations was HR. So I don't know. But it was still connected, you know, teaching was one of the recommendations. So there were things that I never thought about. But if you ever get a chance to take an interest inventory, you might be surprised to see some of the things that you may should pursue based on what you like to do. So
it's way quicker than the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
Yes, oh yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So information item C is the Leandro Resolution. which is urging the state to fulfill its constitutional duty to provide every child access to a sound basic education. You remember this landmark case began in 1994 and is still being debated and appealed to this day. So at this time, I would like to invite Ms. Charlotte Kelly, Ms. Christina Davis, and Mr. James Davis to the podium. And we'd love to give you an opportunity to share the resolution.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Madam Chair, board members, Madam Superintendent, my name is James Davis, and it's a pleasure to be with you this evening. I'd like to introduce our executive committee team, Ms. Charlotte Kelly, our treasurer, and my baby sister, who's our secretary. We're here tonight on behalf of the whole county NAACP and our president, Ms. Jackie McLean, who can't be with us tonight because she's got another committee. But we're honored to be here tonight to share this resolution and to seek your support on behalf of the children here in Hope County. I'd like to take this time now to read the resolution and to get your support of it. This is a model resolution throughout the state. And we're encouraging all county school boards and county commissioners to adopt it. The resolution urges the state to fulfill its constitutional duty to provide every child access to a sound basic education. And it reads, whereas for more than 25 years, North Carolina lawmakers from both parties have failed to meet their constitutional obligations to provide all children in the state a sound basic education. So whereas far too many students, particularly students of color, students from economically disadvantaged families, students with disabilities, English learners, and rural students have been denied the opportunity promised to them under the North Carolina Constitution. And whereas the state constitution and North Carolina general statutes place the responsibility to fund a public school system that provides every child in the state with access to a sound basic education within the state of North Carolina, both the executive and legislative branches. And whereas adequate educational opportunities cannot realistically be provided without adequate education funding. And whereas on March 15th, the state submitted to the court a long-term comprehensive remedial plan, the Leandro plan, detailing specific steps the state leaders in our public school system and ensure that all students have access to the education that they hold under the state constitution. And whereas the Leandro plan represents the bare minimum of the steps state leaders must take to fulfill their constitutional duties. And it is not a menu from which policymakers may select their preferred initiatives. Whereas Governor Cooper's budget recommendations for the 2021 through the 2023 budget year demonstrates that the Leandro plan can be fully funded, implemented within the existing state resources. And whereas on June the 7th, Judge David Lee ordered the state to implement the Leandro plan in full and in accordance with the timeline set forth therein. And whereas district leaders, including state board members, stand ready to direct additional state resources to the students in schools with the greatest need, such as all children, so that all children have an equal opportunity to realize their full potential. Whereas receiving a quality education is paramount to catalyzing a full growth and self-actualization of students, families, communities, and our state as a whole. Therefore, it is resolved that the Hope County Board of Education requests that the North Carolina General Assembly fully enact policies and funding reform, including in the annual plan, to ensure that all North Carolina students have access to a sound basic education by 2028. Adopted by the Hope County Board of Education tonight, the 11th day of January, 2022. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce my sister Christine to explain what the grant for this project is all about. Thank you.
Before we go into the grant, just so what our plan will be is to take that resolution to our next meeting as an action item. And then at that time, we can take a vote on that resolution. That was moved to an information item. Okay, so we'll bring it back together, we'll read it again, and then we'll take a vote on it. Okay?
Thank you very much.
So this time then, we're gonna segue right into the next part, and you can share information about the Every Child NC grant.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Dallas. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you this evening about this vital project in support of our students, our teachers, and our schools here in Polk County. In September 2021, the Polk Branch NAACP applied for a grant from Every Child North Carolina to carry out a project focused on building a base of local advocates to garner Leandro funding set aside as part of the 1994 lawsuit named for a Polk County student. Based on the many years of waiting for these resources to be made available to our schools, our teachers, and our students, what we now know is that we need to mount stronger strategies, build broader bases of advocates, and wage local serious campaigns to encourage the state to fulfill its constitutional duty to our children. With funded support from Every Child North Carolina Coalition, the branch will be launching a local advocacy building project in the next few weeks. Our public release will start with the community teach-in and informational session on January 17th at the Robert Wright Agricultural Center, located at 645 Palmer Avenue in Rayford, from 4 to 6 p.m. At this point, the public will be able to pick up a package of information to learn more about this project and encourage their participation. The funded project will feature identifying initially a cohort of 2 parents and 2 students from 3 middle schools, the 2 high schools, and the alternative school in the district, to participate in the advocacy training curriculum that was developed and that will be provided by Every Child NC Coalition. These advocates will be visible and vocal as we seek to move the initiative forward of encouraging our legislators to live up to and fulfill its constitutional duty to provide every child access to a sound, basic education in the state of North Carolina. Tonight, we applaud and appreciate the support of the Polk County Board of Education members who have demonstrated an interest to embrace the resolution and adopt it. Polk County parents and community leaders courageously led the way with this lawsuit 27 years ago. It would be a significant travesty if we fail to demonstrate that we support our students today and that we further believe as strongly as they believe in 1994 in a sound basic education for every child in North Carolina, especially given today's realities that our children are faced with, our teachers deal with daily, and our students have to grapple with in our schools. So thank you for allowing us to come before you this evening, and we look forward to continuing to lead the charge for sound basic education for every child in North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you proposing, or how are you guys recruiting? Is that the 17th is gonna be the kickoff?
It will be. Our intent force is given the support of the board to connect with the principals at these schools. Again, we've got three middle schools, the 2 high schools, and the alternative school. Hopefully, they will either allow us or help us to identify individuals who have an interest like Ms. Kennedy, to learn more about how to effectively and efficiently navigate systems to help us move forward. We'll rise. Those are our hopes. We are hoping to identify those individuals. They will be provided a stipend, participating in the process and going through, and particularly taking the steps that are identified as part of the advocacy curriculum to be vocal and visible.
And so on the 17th?
On the 17th, MLK Day. Yeah, that's a way to commemorate Martin Luther King Jr. and his vision for a better America for all of us. So come by, pick up a packet.
Okay.
We probably also will be posting it on the NAACP on Facebook after that date.
Okay.
You're welcome all the board members to attend if they'd like to come.
Absolutely.
I have a question too.
Yes, ma'am.
You said you'd be there at the Bobby Wright Center on Martin Luther King Day.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, will you be any place else in the community? Because knowing Martin Luther King Day, majority of people you're gonna get out there gonna be just for one particular people here. But to reach out to the community, to have a diverse group of children and parents served on that committee, will you be located in any other areas in Hope County?
Now that they don't
distribute?
care, but there will be an opportunity for other citizens to learn about this and know about this project. And we will be doing active recruiting and having active presence, as active as we can during this COVID period, to make sure the community's residents know about it.
Okay.
The community is saturated with the media. There will be a full-page ad in the News Journal on the 12th. There is a billboard that's present right now as you ride down 401. You cannot miss it. It flashes every 90 seconds. Okay. So it bears the images of the flyer that's out announcing the beginning of the project and inviting people to come and pick up a packet of everything.
Okay.
And it's on local radio as well. So the interest really is, and now we've sown the seed here. So the hopes are, given your outreach and your ability to have impact in the community, that you'll spread the word. We invite that.
What is the timing of the training? You talked about this advocacy training for the people that you would recruit. Ideally, what's the time frame you're looking at for that?
March through May. Right.
Is that ongoing, or is that just?
Well, this you know how funding is. It's a minimal piece of money for a short period of time. I'm excited about the $50 million capital grant project.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So yes, we would love to say it will be ongoing, but we do have an opportunity to build this initial cohort, and we look for other opportunities to do more. Especially as we encourage us not to have to wait until 2028. That the legislators will be sensitive and that they will take correct action. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions?
Are there any plans to go to the state now?
And you know legislative day is coming up. And we will definitely be encouraging our advocates
To be there.
to have a presence. Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate the information.
Thank you for listening. Have a great one. And congratulations and happy board month.
So information item E is a review of the state bonuses outlined by the North Carolina General Assembly. We know we kind of shared, there's a lot of different information out there. We just thought it was worth revisiting, sharing, giving you some dates, so that you can help, answer questions, because I know you're getting a lot of them. So at this time, let me ask Ms. Juana Chavis, our finance officer, to share this information.
Good afternoon. Good evening. So like Dr. Della stated, we just want to share what we've learned since we did our original presentation to you about our bonuses that were approved by the General Assembly. Our first bonus is what we call our premium pay bonus. The General Assembly in their Appropriations Act authorized the payment of a one-time lump sum payment to all permanent state employees and using funds from State Fiscal Recovery Fund. The amount of the bonus to provide an individual is dependent upon the employee's gross salary. All employees are to be provided a bonus of $1,000, while employees whose gross salary is less than $75,000 are to be provided an additional $500 bonus. So one of the first questions that arose from this is what determines the $75,000? So in all the guidance that we've received, it's what their contract amount is plus a local supplement. So when we started looking at the $75,000 threshold, we took a employee's base and added the supplement to it to determine if they fell below the $75,000 threshold. And in looking through our employees, we probably have about 40 employees that exceed the $75,000 threshold. These bonuses are funded through state fiscal recovery funds, which is the federal COVID relief funds appropriated through the American Rescue Plan Act. The Division of School Business at DPI will provide additional information related to monitoring and compliance. Since these are federal funds, they will be heavily monitored and compliance looked for. They didn't get into the tax part. They're looking for a list of employees that qualified for this. Was it approved? Just documentation on how we determine who receives this bonus. No one shall receive an excess of $15,000. Not $1,500. I want $15,000. These are stressing me out. $1,500. So even if an employee is doing two positions, for example, we got the TAs, a bus driver, the maximum they can receive is the $1,500, regardless of the number of positions they're assigned to. They are to be prorated for permanent part-time employees. So for example, we have 50% custodians, they would receive half of it. Anybody that's not working 30 hours, which deems them a full-time employee, would receive a prorated amount, which would be, in our case, half of what the bonus is. Temporary employees, regardless of their pay status, are not eligible to receive the bonus. And by definition, subs are temporary employees. In our questions and answers that we received, it says that we as a governing body cannot determine who receives this bonus because it was issued through the General Assembly. And in their question and answers, they said subs did not qualify. The bonus must be paid no later than January 31st, 2022. Currently, our date that we're looking to release the checks for Hood County will be January 26, 2022. This is our first bonus that we have worked on for $1,500. Any questions about the $1,500? Our next bonus. Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain to me what a permanent sub is?
A permanent sub will be someone we've hired to be permanent in working every day, all school year long.
I thought we had a long-term sub.
But that.
Right, so they're not considered.
They're not
full-time
permanent. Permanent will be they're earning benefits, they're contributing to the retirement system. We don't have any permanent subs. We have long-term subs, and they fill vacancies and other things, but we don't have permanent subs.
So those people would not be entitled.
No, ma'am, they wouldn't, not by the rules that they've set aside for us.
Is there any kind of funding is that now available for them that we could get?
We are currently,
Hard for us.
they are, we are currently working on a bonus for them. We, with our ESSER funds, we can apply for, or we can write in our grant for them to receive a bonus. We have submitted the grant with that documentation in it, but I have to wait for the federal programs to approve the grant before I can say, yes, they got a bonus, or no, they did not. But we are looking into that for our subs and some criteria for that also.
What, do you have an estimated time or something like that you might be?
We would, you want to get into specifics?
I mean, you can share. I mean, basically, we have to wait for the turnaround time to get approval because we are looking to compensate more temporary employees. We do really have to make sure we get that approved first. Depending on how long that takes, 1A, I mean, timeline, I don't know, it could be a couple of weeks, could be less than.
And one of the things we looked at for the subs is we want to look at how much they've done this semester. And the semester actually ends next week. So we'd say, for example, if a sub worked more than 50 days, they would get this bonus. If they only work 2 days, do you really want to give them the whole bonus that you're giving to somebody who's been there every day?
So you're defining long-term sub.
Well,
trying.
Not necessarily
long-term.
Trying to categorize, like, what would be equivalent to like our part-time, like how many hours, how many days, to try to set up categories of the payment. So it's, yeah, not necessarily defining long-term, but kind of, I see what you're saying. We're trying to identify who those people would be. Yeah.
But we have submitted the application, and sometimes it may take 2 weeks, sometimes a week. It just depends on how quickly the federal programs at DPI reviews it.
So
It's the government, it takes forever.
our goal would be is if we can get it approved to bring it to the February board meeting. Okay, so we kind of feel that gives us a couple of weeks hopefully to get it approved, and then we can continue to work on it, and then we can present it to you in February.
Our next bonus is our $300 teacher bonus. With the guidelines for this, it was no later than January 31st, 2022. The Department of Public Instruction shall administer a one-time lump sum payment of $300 to every teacher whose salaries are supported by state funds and who, as of January 1, is employed as a teacher in a qualifying public school unit. So with this one, it's $300 to all of our teachers and instructional support. Teachers and instructional support are defined as those positions that are paid out of PRC 001, which is our classroom teachers, and its classroom teachers are resource teachers, all of those who are eligible to be paid as a state certified teacher. And instructional support, PRC 007, which is our guidance, media, academic coaches, social workers, nurses, intervention specialists, speech pathologists, and psychologists. One of the things with this particular bonus is they have to be working at a school level and paid at a school level to be eligible to receive this teacher bonus. And it's $300 for teachers and instructional support. Also, our plan is it has to be paid no later than January 31st, 2022, or we're also planning to pay this from January 26th, 2022. Any questions on our $300?
You said working at a school level and.
Coded, or their budget code has to say they're at a school level. So for example, a teacher at the high school has to be working at the high school and coding for payment at the high school. If we have a teacher that's working at EC and coded to 000, which is not a location, then they're not eligible for the bonus. Because they're considered district personnel. Any questions about our $300 bonus? And these are guidance and questions and answers from, the guidance is from DPI that we follow with these
Do
bonuses.
we have any more lateral entry? Because you said certified.
We do residents, they're called residency now.
So they would qualify.
Well, they have a valid license for residential and, yes. Because they would have residential on their license for this year. Our final bonus for January is the $1,000 COVID training bonus. So this bonus is also $1,000 for every qualifying teacher or instructional support paid from state funds who is employed on January 1 as a teacher in a public school unit. As a qualifying teacher is defined as teachers in instructional support who participate in one or more trainings between March 12th, 2020 and January 1, 2022. The training had to address the mitigation of COVID-19 in public schools, learning loss resulted from COVID-19 pandemic, or virtual instruction needed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We must determine whether the teacher or instructional support qualified for the bonus if they did all this training or did some type of training between March 12, 2020, January 1, 2022. This bonus also must be paid by January 31st, 2022. But we first had to submit our application to DPI for them to approve these funds as their federal funds. We submitted our application and it has been approved. So we have approval. Now, one of the pitfalls of these grants that they send us, we have 650 teachers in instructional support. The funding they sent us only covered 461 teachers. So the additional teachers that we had to pay, both state and federal, because they were only paying for the state, we had to end up picking up in our ESSER 2 funds, approximately $160,000. So,
when we wrote the grant, did we tell them how many teachers?
we didn't have the option to tell them, they just gave us a dollar amount.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't have, they sent us our allocation, and from our allocation, we were able to pay for 461 teachers out of it.
You think they know that, give us the right amount of money, so we haven't done finding, come up with it somewhere.
They know we have one name.
Do what?
Did we find the money?
We used ESSER 2 funds to make up the difference. Yes, ma'am.
No, what question we want
Well, with all these bonuses, believe me, there's a lot of questions going around right now.
So there is.
When do we pay that out on them?
March 20, not March, I'm sorry. January 26th is our tentative goal for all 3 of these bonuses. We currently have all of them in with all our teachers in, we're reviewing, so our goal is to have them out January 26th.
Was it a rationale for that, or
Just trying to get approval, we weren't quite sure, and she's been working like one bonus at a time.
Okay.
So and we also kind of set the 26 knowing that would give us about 4 or 5 days to make any corrections if we had to.
Okay.
And then we would have our regular payroll out of the way.
Right, regular
Because our
payroll out of the
employees
way.
get paid the 24th. Then they get this bonus on the 26th. And then any corrections we need to make, we can have them done before the
Hold
31st.
the banks. Be ready.
Yeah.
Make sure you have cash.
Because the ones on the 26th will be real checks. Yes, ma'am.
They'll be happy.
Yes, sir.
Any questions about any of our bonuses, concerns?
They work so hard though. They
It's-
these teachers are good.
Okay.
So any extra, just, we wanted you to kind of have that as a nice point of view, because we do know you get asked questions and things like that, so that might help give you some talking points for each one of those again.
Thank you. And, you know, just to let employees or those that are concerned, it's not the Hood County Board making this decision. All this came from the General Assembly.
I'd love to see that.
Yes. Okay, so information
Thank you.
F, item F, stay on up here, 1A, is your monthly financial report. So if you have any questions, please direct them to our finance officer, Ms. 1A Chavis at this time.
Ms. Barber, do you have any questions?
Okay, so Madam Chair and members, that does conclude our informational items for this evening.
Okay, next on our agenda then is closed session. Maybe get a motion to go into closed session.
Madam Chair, I move that we go into closed session under the North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel matters, to consider matters related to additional employment of individual employees, and to consult with the board attorney to reserve the attorney-client privilege.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Then move in second that we go in, to, closed session because we follow, reason given. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We adjourn closed